Hi, I'm Costa. I have a long history when it comes to sport. My whole beginning part of my life was just dedicated to tennis, and I was number 4 in South Africa, under 18. And then I went on to play overseas. And with my dad being German, I was set up to go to Germany, but then because of the sanctions against South Africa, my contract was cancelled. And at that time I decided to step away from being a professional tennis player because my hands were really tired. You could still become a professional tennis player, but you needed a huge amount of money because to be kept on the WTA, to play challenger events, 500s, 1000s, you have to be like of millionaire status. And my parents were average, I would say above average earners, but nowhere near where they could support me traveling the world. So I stepped away from tennis, and that's when I took up running and cycling. And I started doing that, and I started entering duathlon competitions. And yeah, before long I got my Springbok colours in that, and I competed overseas, and I went to the World Championships and I came 10th. And then I came back here and I continued doing that, and then I started playing tennis again, like whilst I was still doing the duathlons, but then I got thyroid cancer. I wasn't feeling well, and like I literally couldn't run around the block. And like somebody coming, being a national athlete, and then you can't run around the block, something was off, and they did tests, and anyway I had thyroid cancer, so I had 3 doses of radiation. But because of that, they said I need to not put such a extreme load, exercise load on my body, that my body can just recover. So then I stepped away from the running and cycling, and that's when I went back to tennis. And then I played at the World Championships in my age group, which was 30 to 39, and I won the bronze medal there. And then when I won the bronze medal there, I'd kind of recovered enough, and then I went back to running and cycling, and so the journey has continued. And I've been between those two sports most of my life.
Okay, so what autoimmune disease do you have, and how does it affect you?
So I suffer from a condition called Psoriatic Osteoarthritis, and it's where your immune system actually attacks your healthy cells, and in my case it will attack my bones and my tendons. So you develop like popcorn bones, and then you have like abnormal bone growth as well. So it targets areas like your feet, your hands, your spine. It literally affects all the tendons and muscles around that joint, makes the joint extremely stiff, so there's no flexibility and movement in the joints, and then it starts to eat away at the healthy tissue of the bone.
What does a bad day feel like in your body?
A bad day, when I wake up in the morning, my feet are excessively sore, pretty swollen, actually very swollen, and not a lot of flexibility in my feet. Like walking downstairs is difficult for me. Holding a kettle is very difficult. That's an extremely bad day, but then I just, you take a lot of anti-inflammatories, you take pain tablets to get you through that day, and then by the evening it's really bad. Then by about 4:30, I generally lie in the bed. So when I come back from work, that's an extremely bad day.
How does exercise help you manage it?
So without exercise, those tendons, your ligaments, your bones become like really inactive, and they shorten and they get very stiff, and it exacerbates the condition because then there's no movement, no flexibility in the joint. So exercise actually lubricates the joint because it pushes the blood flow through your joints, which makes your tendons and your ligaments more flexible, so you can use your feet, you can use your hands. My fingers are not so sore, so I can hold things, I can open things, and without that it's pretty difficult to function without having an active body. So that's why I'm always exercising.
Most people with this condition lose their mobility. How has your fitness stopped that from happening?
All right, so with this condition that I have, my long-term prognosis is a wheelchair. That's where I will end up one day. But I refuse to go there anytime soon, and that is why, you know, my physician has said to me that I have to keep active, because the longer I can keep my body active, then my body won't atrophy. It will obviously get worse and it will regress, but at a slower rate to what it would do if I was not exercising. If I was doing absolutely no exercise, that wheelchair would be around the corner.
Do you feel that your history in exercise helped you to continue with exercise after being diagnosed?
So not having a strong base, okay, would have been detrimental, because then you're starting at a weak point, at a weak base. At least I started at a very strong base. So absolutely, exercise has worked in my favor.
What is thyroid cancer?
So thyroid cancer really, it's Graves' disease, where you either, well, in my case I had a very overactive thyroid, and I had a growth on my thyroid gland, which was cancerous, which they had to remove. They could remove it surgically, or you could remove it through doses of radioactive iodine. I went for the radioactive iodine, only because the growth was very close to the vocal cords, and there was a chance that it could have affected the vocal cords, which would affect your voice. So that's why I opted for the doses of radioactive iodine.
What did that treatment take out of you physically?
Physically, for quite a long period of time after that, I didn't have a lot of strength. I was very lethargic. It was difficult to get my heart rate up. You just feel at less than 50% of your normal self while your body is recovering from radioactive iodine.
So would it have been harder if you weren't fit?
I think I would have given up a lot easier if I wasn't fit, because the condition would have got a lot worse. So I would have probably threw in the towel, because I wouldn't have had the goals that I set out, to achieve. And although now the goals are completely modified to what my goals were back then when I was racing, my goals now is literally to keep my body as healthy as possible for as long as possible. But I just equate it to running a race or doing a race or playing a tennis match. I need to win at the end. Winning for me now is my health. So yeah, definitely. Staying active definitely helped me get back to normal faster, but I think it was more a psychological thing than a physical thing. Psychologically, I have a very strong mindset in where I want to be and what my training goals were at the time and are now presently. So being fit definitely, if I don't do exercise, psychologically I don't feel good. Emotionally I don't feel good. There's something missing in my life. Some people will call it like an addictive high that you get from exercise. And I do suffer from that. If I don't exercise, there's definitely something missing. The day is not the same for me. So the exercise has definitely helped me from a psychological point of view. Final piece of advice that I would give any person, whether you're not having any health issues, whether you're just a layman's person wanting to start out doing a little bit of exercise, I think besides the physical advantages that exercise gives you, I think the psychological and the mental advantages that it gives you and the person that you can become, just altering a few different things during your day is so beneficial. It changes your mindset. It changes how you deal with certain situations. Through exercise, I've come into contact with a lot of different people, a lot of medical practitioners, a lot of other professional athletes. And you see how different people react to different situations. And I can tell you now, I wouldn't have reacted to situations that I have faced in the same manner had it not been for my history in training and exercise. throws a different perspective on life. And at the end of the day, exercise makes you feel good. And anything that's going to make me feel good, I'm going to continue doing. And if I wake up in the morning and I say, today's going to be a good day, and I start off like that, then I've already made that shift in my mind that today's going to be a good day. Part of that day is going to include exercise at some points of the day. The rest of the day is going to be my working day. So that is just the philosophy that I go with, you know, in my life. And I haven't gone wrong yet. I don't know where I'm going to end up, okay? How bad it's going to get, how quickly, I don't know. But I don't really think about that. I live in the moment, and I just take it day by day.
Can I ask how old you are?
I turned 60 this year.